This is an outdoor bicycle cover. I have the largest model, which is 83 long by 44 wide by 46 high. I received this to review for free from the Amazon Vine Voices review program. If you wanted to buy it, it would cost you somewhere between $16 and $20 depending on the size you got. I have not been paid for my review, and my opinions are my own. So the material here is pretty thin. It has, a black outside and this silver coated inside. From the factory it has a little bit of tackiness that you need to pull apart. And it has a couple of ports where you can put a U-lock through, a little bit of elastic to hold things together. Little tag here. So it has two carry handles on the top, a little logo on one side here, and that's the size you're looking at. It also has a strap on the bottom that you can strap under the bike to keep it from blowing off. This cruiser is our largest bike because of the handlebars. So I had a little difficulty setting this guy up on this bike because those handlebars are so large. I had to twist the front wheel to the side to get the handlebars in it, and that's kind of keeping the bottom from connecting up well. So I'm not even certain I have it correct front to back. I've tried to get those two little metal grommets kind of near the rear wheel, but I might have gotten that sideways. I tried it the other way first, it didn't seem to fit, so it seemed to fit the best this way. I have not clipped those little clips that are supposed to go under the bike. They're at the front wheel as opposed to the middle where I'd kind of expect them to be. So I'm going to take it off and try putting it on 90 degrees rotated and see if that does any better. I'm pretty sure that's not the right orientation, but those cruiser handlebars are just messing up the whole lay of how it sets up there. So it does cover most of the bike. I'm not really expecting it to come off, even though it's not clipped on the bottom, because it has such tightness around the front wheel and the rear wheel here. But you can see, the little metal locking brackets are there, and the other one's here. So, those I believe are supposed to be on opposite sides of the bike. So I have this thing rotated 90 degrees now, and it's covering the bike for the most part, but it's really not fitting super well. And there's absolutely no way I would get more than one bike under that if one of them's the cruiser. Alright, this is our second largest and also second smallest bike. The handlebars are more reasonable width, but it is still an ex-rideshare bike, and so it has this giant basket on the front, and it's a relatively full-sized bicycle here, so we'll try this guy. Alright, so that was a little more reasonable. Still, the total length of the bike, combined with that basket up front, is making it so this doesn't really wrap around the bicycle tires. We have those two metal brackets there that are kind of on the rear wheel area, so you could put a U-lock kind of through them. I got these things latched around the front tire. Again, it's covering most of the bike, but there's a little bit sticking out and it's kind of tight on the back there. Alright, this is our smallest, most reasonably sized bike. It's still 26-inch wheels, but it's a smaller frame for a youth. Doesn't have any extra baskets or super wide handlebars or anything like that. So let's give this guy a shot. Okay, so that seems to fit pretty reasonably. We have these two grommets on opposite sides of the back wheel, so you could kit a U-lock through the back wheel and the frame member. There's plenty of room to snap the bottom snap there. I didn't do it, but you could have. If I pulled this out, I could get the pedal underneath. So that's pretty well covered, that bike. Now this is their largest bike cover, so I can't really recommend ordering these small or medium sizes unless you have a child's bike. Just in case I'm doing this wrong, I'm going to take it off. I'm going to try putting this axis towards the front and back wheel and see if that works any better. Well, it goes on, not covering the back wheel quite as well. I think it had it right the first time. I think the two carry handles, instead of being front and back, are kind of left and right when this guy is put on top of a bicycle. So yeah, it will cover one bike. The fit depends on your bike. If you have a kind of small 26-inch mountain bike, it seems to cover pretty darn well. If you have a big beach cruiser, it may not reach all the way down to the ground all the way around it. So the listing says we'll cover from 1 to 3 bikes. Only way I could see this covering multiple bikes is that if you had it on a rack and had like the front wheels removed and the bikes were a lot more compact, I could potentially see this covering 2 bikes in a compact storage rack type situation. It also does a reasonably good job as just a grill cover. Alright, so at the $20 price point, this is a pretty reasonable value for your money. I put it on and off several bikes. I haven't, snared it or ripped it or torn it or anything. It feels very thin, but it also feels like it's, pretty durable material. I expect you would get at least a year of full-time outdoor use out of this before it started to get sun-faded and maybe damaged and needs some replacement. If you have ape hangers or beach cruiser or super large handlebars, it goes over it, but it may not go down on your bike as far. Same thing with baskets or other accessories. If you have a traditional mountain bike, 26-inch, it seems to fit pretty well. I do recommend buying the largest size unless you know it's for a very small bike though.